Hey everybody, I just finished another book in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. This is number 7, Under the Magician's Spell. This is a book that I really didn't know what to expect, and one that I really wasn't looking forward to reading. But I wanted to knock out a few of these early books in the series. And this was also a buddy read, so that really helped. And it was really fun to actually buddy read a Give Yourself Goosebumps book because me and the other person actually went two different routes. So I kind of knew what to expect on the other end, and she knew what to expect on my end. So it was really fun. I'll say this is a very underrated book in my opinion. I looked at Michael Goosebumps fans' book review and BD Horror. I think Michael Goosebumps fan didn't really love it as much as I did, and BD Horror kind of liked it, but I think I liked it better than both of them. This book was random, and like it had a few flaws, I think, but like I really enjoyed it. The story is basically you trying to sneak out of your house. You're going to the mall to meet some friends, and your mom catches you, and she's talking to your sister, and your sister is this little bratty younger sibling, and your mom basically forces you to bring your sister with you to the mall. So y'all go to the mall, and you and your friend are hanging out or whatever, and y'all notice that y'all's little sister or your little sister is gone. You look and you see her over at this magic shop. So you go over there, and basically, long story short, she steals this book. And after this, it kind of goes into two different routes. If the bullies get a hold of this book, this was the route that I ended up going, where your friend Sid actually gets handcuffs on him or whatever, and you either use like logic to get the handcuffs off or use magic. And if you go through the handcuff scenario with like tools and stuff, this takes you to the bullies, and the bullies end up stealing the book. And you notice one of the pages that's ripped out of the book is if this book doesn't get returned or whatever, whoever stole it will disappear, and your sister is slowly starting to disappear. So you and your friend and your sister sneak into this warehouse where these bullies hang out that stole the book, and y'all start using like different spells to try to get the book back. And that's basically what this storyline is. It's random. It's not like a full-fledged like story, but I loved it. This kind of had like a don't go to sleep vibe to me. I especially liked you get like genies, you get zombie baseball player kids, you get a werewolf, you get a cannibal granny, different things like that. It's really random, and there's probably a lot that I'm missing out on. There's one storyline there's one spell you use that makes you terrifying to everybody, and everybody's scared of you. That one I really like, but I was a little disappointed with what you actually were. And there's quite a few just random storylines or random spells that are like that. There's one that I really want to mention that where you go and it takes you to two different paths, and one's a bad path, one's a good path, and you run into this really sweet lady that says this is the bad path. And I'm not gonna say much about it because it really caught me off guard. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And the other storyline is your sister has this the spell book, and she reads these words out loud, and the ground breaks under you, and you fall underground. And it basically takes you to this like carnival kind of like thing, where the magician pops up and he wants his book back, but you hide it from him, and he gives you this hourglass thing that he puts around your neck. And basically, if you don't return it within an hour, he gets your shrunken head. I think it's an hour anyway, but he gets your head and he shrinks it, and you like he decapitates you. Sorry, but yeah, that storyline was pretty good too. I didn't think that I would love that storyline, but I really did. You get to meet Mr. Knowledge, which is this guy that basically knows everything, but he really doesn't. But he does have this really cool ending where you get him mad and he turns into something, and I love that. There's mentions of Bad Hair Day in this storyline. You meet Miss Cardmanship, I think is her name, and she basically plays a hand of cards with you, and you have different like ways to get endings in this one, where like you're supposed to like draw a deck of cards and all that. I didn't do any of this like in this book. I just kind of guessed. But yeah, the first storyline that I went through, I really really loved, and the second storyline I thought it was pretty good. I will say right up front, this book I believe has, it was weird because I was thinking about rating this thing. I was like, this book was like, and this is crazy. This sounds crazy after like looking at everybody's reviews and stuff, but I kind of thought it was like close to perfect because it was like there was really nothing wrong with it, other than there was a scene where you run into this dog and he's not a real dog, and it's not explained like why he isn't a real dog. It's just random. And I know there's some other things that I want to complain about, but I couldn't really think of them. There's one thing where there, like in these books, there's certain like scenarios that you go through, and I don't really enjoy them if they swap completely, like depending on what you do. Like I'd much prefer like a consistent storyline regardless of what you pick. Like, I mean, you can still get bad endings with what you pick, but for example, there's one where your little sister has a diary in her backpack, and if you don't do something, the bullies get the backpack and not the magic book. I didn't really care for that, but that's really it. I really enjoyed this one. I think it was funny. It was actually had some scary scenes. The scene with the werewolf was really, really well written, and I liked it. There's some scenes that are actually pretty funny in here, where there's like one scene where it's like, do you want to strangle your little sister, or do you want to deal with her nonsense and go to this page or something? And if you choose the strangling, it's like, come on, you know better than that. You can't do that to your little sister. Your mom will beat you or something. I don't think they said that, but like it was really good. Yeah, Under the Magician's Spell is a really really good story in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought about giving this thing a 5 out of 5, but I don't think it's quite perfect. There are some things that I didn't really like, but I will say that I like this, I think, a lot more than your average person. So, yeah, I highly recommend this one. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. Cover-wise, this has one of the worst covers in the series. Mark Nagata, under the Goosebumps wiki, said that, or according to the Goosebumps wiki, said that this was like his least favorite cover. And I remember I had this book as a kid. Actually, if you look on the side, there's like a sticker that was like it was like 37 cents, I think, at our local Goodwill when I was a kid. So yeah, it still has my crease from when I don't know exactly how that crease got there, but I think I had it since I was actually on the book. But yeah, this is actually my copy from when I was a kid. I just never read it. Never really wanted to. And I'm glad I did. This was a very good one. Like I said, I'd give this thing a 4 out of 5 stars. To me, in my opinion, it's close to perfect because I think that it genuinely just has everything that you're looking for in a Goosebumps book. It's funny. It's scary. I didn't mention it, but it actually has some pretty decent gore in there, especially with the magician, like having his head melted and different things like that. Yeah, there's not really a decapitation scene, but it's implied that you get decapitated in one of the scenes, but that's in a lot of these books. And I think that if I would have read this before I'd have read the Elevator to Nowhere book, I think I would have liked that book a little less, but it's still a good one. That's still a good one. Yeah. 4 out of 5 stars for me, guys, Under the Magician's Spell. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you. Bye-bye.